Officer Magnano clearly does not live up to that standard in real time. You can see it in that video. He, in the real time, does not live up to that standard.
Breaking news now at 10. The Hartford police officer who shot and killed Stephen Jones during a reported mental health crisis has been fired. Thank you for joining us for the CW20 at the news at 10. I'm Annette Montgomery. Jones was one of 2 men shot and killed by Hartford police in a span of 8 days. Fox 61's Tim Lateau shares the latest from City Hall.
This comes exactly 1 month since the shooting, which is also the end of that officer's probationary period. We've heard from community members who have called for that officer's termination, and the mayor says he has too. And while the Office of the Inspector General continues to investigate, the mayor says he had to take action.
I've been consistently clear about how disturbed I have been by the images I saw, that we all saw, from the body-worn camera footage to the public videos that were shared.
A day after 55-year-old Stephen Jones was laid to rest, the police officer who investigators say killed him was put out of a job. Officer Joseph Magnano arrived on scene several minutes after other officers. According to the preliminary report from the Office of the Inspector General, Magnano fired his gun 9 times at Jones just 30 seconds after arriving on scene. Jones died from his injuries 5 days later.
I made the determination to terminate Officer Magnano effective immediately based on his performance as a Hartford police officer. This is the last day of his probationary period as an officer, and we made the determination that his performance as an officer is not befitting of the standards that we expect of our Hartford Police Department.
Swift criticism of the mayor came at City Hall right after his remarks. Hartford Police Union President James Rutkowski called the mayor a coward. He says the mayor acted too quickly before the Inspector General's investigation was complete.
This is a tragedy of justice and process. Our mayor caved to political pressure. He is a coward. He is devoid of any semblance of leadership or manhood.
It's unclear if any legal action will be taken against Magnano, or if the police union will take any against the city. Nationally known civil rights attorney Ben Crump is representing the Jones family. Hours after Magnano's termination, Crump called it a step in the right direction, but that it cannot be the end of the process. He also called for more compassion and mental health calls. Rutkowski says the lack of support for police officers in the state is troubling.
Any mother or father that are out there now, do not let your sons and daughters be police officers in the state of Connecticut, especially in the city of Hartford.
Crump has previously said his team would consider taking legal action against the police department and city. In Hartford, Tim Lateau, Fox 61.
Thank you, Tim. And after those 2 deadly police shootings, there were calls for changes to how law enforcement handle mental health emergencies. Leadership behind a new center at Southern Connecticut State University hopes to build a bridge some people say is missing. Here's Fox 61's Stephen Reels.
So since 2020, there has been something called the Social Work and Law Enforcement Project. And just like the name suggests, it merges the world of police and social workers in order to help officers respond to situations better. Now in 2026, that project has a home.
We pretty much do similar things, but we have different goal at the end.
Dr. Isabel Logan has been one of the minds behind the new Center for Police Social Work, set to be headquartered here on Southern Connecticut State University's campus. It's the next step for a project Logan started in 2020 in an effort to help police respond to situations that require the work of a social worker. It came on the heels of police accountability legislation by state leaders and the death of George Floyd.
They receive a lot of calls that are non-criminal behavior having to do with housing, mental health, substance use. And so when you add a social worker to the mix, it makes for better outcomes for the community.
Logan says the center will act as an academic and community hub to bridge that gap, with training clinics and programs to add what law enforcement is already trained in. It's work that has also been called for once again in recent weeks in Hartford, after 2 officer-involved shootings just days apart where both victims had gone through a mental health crisis.
We definitely feel for what's going on in Hartford, and we will always be at a table that's solution-focused.
Are police officers necessarily trained in this or not really?
No, because police officers are not social workers.
They give you some training in the academy, but you're left to go to your municipality and learn what your resources are there. and you do your best to connect people to resources as much as you can, but we're not specialized in it the way social workers are, right?
Lieutenant Nicholas Rankin has been a partner in the project for years and says it helped provide a deeper perspective for departments and could potentially be that change people need to see.
Our goal is to address the immediate problem happening right now, and we don't always have the time or resources to follow up with people, which, I feel is one thing that they really need, right? They need help navigating these systems lest they become kind of a number. Anybody that's interested in training with us knows now a centralized location where they can come and find that training, and anyone interested in deploying some of our methods can come there and learn about them.
And according to Logan, the big goal for the center over the next few years is to help with research, national standards, and expand training across the state of Connecticut. In New Haven, Stefan Reels, Fox 61.
Thank you, Stefan. And we have been following this story since day one. For the latest updates, stay with us on air and online at fox61.com. You can also download Fox 61 Plus, our free streaming app, by scanning the QR code on your screen.
Well, good evening, everyone. We certainly had a wild day today. Actually, we have to go back to midnight where we had temperatures in the 50s and 60s, and temperatures have fallen all day long. And here we are back to reality. Check out 66 there in Danbury. This is just after midnight, 62 in Waterbury. So these temperatures, again, right after midnight, and you can see my arrows going all over the place. So I'm going to click that off and show you the currents. 31 Torrington to 37 Groton, New London. Yes, nearly a 30-degree difference here within 24 hours. But, after all, this is New England in March, going into April. Not much in the way of wind now. Old frontal system gave us a little bit of light rain. This will give us a few clouds, maybe a flurry in the western hills tomorrow. So tonight, mostly clear and chilly. Low temperatures down into the 20s. The wind will diminish down to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then tomorrow we wake up, no problems. It'll just be brisk and cold. A few clouds mixing in again with that little system. And, parts of Litchfield County might see a snowflake, but not a big deal. Temperatures holding in the 30s, but the wind chill in the 20s, and then wind diminishing, clear, cold. That'll allow those temperatures to drop off. Wind gusts only about 20, 25 miles per hour, but it's all about the wind chill. Yeah, doesn't this remind you of midwinter? To a point, it will feel like it's about 25 to 30 and even a little bit colder up into the northwest hills. So again, your weekend, the cold for your Saturday, back to reality, 45 to near 50 on your Sunday. I'll be back in a few minutes. Detail next week warm-up. All that and more on your Fox 61 7-day forecast. Annette?
Thank you, Sam. Well, in sports news, the UConn women's basketball team extended their perfect season and advanced to the Elite Eight after beating the North Carolina Tar Heels. The final score was UConn 63-42. We'll have more on the game in a bit, but the UConn men just began, and we'll also be keeping an eye on their score, and we'll update you as soon as we learn more. In other sports news, the Connecticut Sun has reached an agreement to be sold and leave the state. The deal, worth about $300 million, would move the team to Houston in 2027, pending league approval. The Sun are expected to play one more season in Connecticut before relocating and rebranding as the Houston Comets. The team has been in our state for 23 years, since moving from Orlando back in 2003. The founder of New Haven's forensic science program, Dr. Henry C. Lee, has died at the age of 87. Dr. Lee is best known for changing the face of criminal justice. He worked on some of the world's most high-profile cases, such as the O.J. Simpson trial and the JFK reinvestigation. He spent 50 years at the University of New Haven, where his slogan was, "Make the impossible possible." To honor his wishes, there won't be a memorial or celebration of life. And tonight, several lawmakers shared messages in honor of Dr. Lee. State Senator Tony Wang shared these photos with us and called Dr. Lee a treasured friend, mentor, and an inspiration in his life. Wang says he will always be grateful for Dr. Lee's kindness, care, and generosity. Developing tonight, several Connecticut schools confirmed they were victims of a swatting incident this morning that sent several of them into lockdown. That fake phone call threat disrupted an entire day of learning for students at Woodstock Academy. And it comes as officers say these calls are becoming more common.
We have what we call swatting calls, where somebody calls in and said there's an event occurring at that moment inside the school, like a shooting inside of a school. A lot of times, if it's an actual call, you receive multiple calls. When you only receive that one call, then those flags start going up and you start realizing that this is probably a hoax call.
After law enforcement completed their investigation and found no threat, the lockdown was lifted. The school decided to dismiss students early and cancel after-school activities as an extra precaution.